Hello everyone, thank you so much for clicking on today's video and welcome to my channel. Today's topic is quite a sensitive one as it involves a Reddit post about the impact of a best friend's divorce on someone's marriage. But it sort of ends on a positive note, at least for LP. Stay tuned for the update to find out. If you do enjoy the story, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a thumbs up. And before I move on to the story, I just wanted to take a second and thank all of my subscribers. Thank you so much, you guys are so wonderful. For those that are new here, if you like my content and you'd like to support me, I would really appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button. Anyways, thank you so much for your time and onto the story. Besties divorce causing issues in my marriage. My best friend, who's a 40-year-old female, is going through a divorce with her husband, a 44-year-old male. We'll call them Alice and Ken. My husband, a 37-year-old male, and I, a 38-year-old female, have been together for 10 years and have always been close with Ken and Alice. Alice and I have been best friends since before we met either of our partners. My husband and Ken have become good friends over the years, and they hang out, just the two of them, semi-frequently. About a month ago, Ken told Alice that he wanted a divorce. She told me that for the last 6 months they've been having issues. According to her, the problems stem from Ken's issues with her job. 3 years ago, she accepted a promotion at her company. The promotion required her to travel 3 to 4 months out of the year, and she works a lot when she isn't on assignments. She's always been insanely ambitious and successful. I think that it's important to note that Ken works full-time as a tradesman. He works out of his shop, it's metal work, on their property and stays pretty busy. She makes more than he does, but I wouldn't call her the breadwinner. Alice has a daughter, a 12-year-old female from a previous relationship. The biological dad isn't in the picture, and Ken has been her dad since she was 4. According to her, Ken has been asking her to either take a position that requires fewer hours and responsibilities or find a new job that doesn't require any travel. She's been telling him that she will, but has been putting it off, thinking that he'd drop it eventually. This has been going on for a while. She didn't tell me how long exactly. It all came to a head when she extended a business trip. While on the trip, and forgot about a family vacation that they had planned for when she got back. She didn't consult him about extending her business trip before agreeing to it. She apologized and promised to make it up to him and their daughter. She said that she didn't have a choice when it came to extending the business trip. Whether that's true or not, I have no idea. Ken was upset but didn't blow up. When she got home though, his stuff was packed and he'd moved most of his shop and tools into storage. He hadn't told her any of this and was acting like everything was fine until this point. She called me and was crushed. She kept saying, I didn't think that he'd do it, over and over. What was at first sadness on her end quickly became resentment and anger when Ken made it clear that there was no getting back together. Ken and my husband were in contact during this whole ordeal. My husband knew that they were having issues, but he didn't know the extent of it until after Ken left Alice. Ken told my husband that Alice has been checked out of the relationship ever since she took the new position. They don't do anything as a family anymore. Alice doesn't make time for them to talk when she travels. I guess he asked her for some nudes and just some dirty talk a few times, and she rejected him, but had time to go out with her co-workers. They don't sleep together anymore. He'd voiced these issues numerous times and she blew it off, according to Ken. Everything became much worse after a particular incident that is hard to even type without cringing. Ken and Alice had been separated for about 3 weeks. Their daughter was bouncing back and forth between Ken's apartment and their old home that Alice was staying in. It was Ken's weekend with their daughter. He brings her back Sunday evening. Well, Alice went on a bender and literally forgot what day it was. She was so messed up. This isn't like her. She thought that it was Saturday. It was Sunday. Ken showed up with their daughter and walks into a shit show. Alice has 2 younger men there. They were drunk and in a hot tub. They weren't in the act, but it was clear what was going on. She started freaking out, calling Ken names and screaming that it wasn't Sunday yet. Ken kept their daughter in his truck so that she didn't see the worst of it. They left. The next day, she has no idea what had happened. She had texted Ken horrible things while she was messed up. I only saw them because Ken sent my husband screenshots. I won't say word for word what was said, but it was really personal stuff. Since then, Ken is going nuclear. He wants the house, he wants custody. He adopted their daughter long ago. He wants child support. He's taking her to the cleaners, as they say. I know this isn't Alice. She's going through some stuff. She needs friends right now, and I'm literally all she has. Her own daughter would rather stay with Ken. I'm not going to cut my best friend out over this. Now the issue? My husband wants me to cut her out. He said some really horrible things about her. He's called her a horrible mother. I know she loves her daughter. He's called her a self-absorbed effing bee. He said he doesn't want me getting sucked into her drama and behavior. When I insist she'll turn it around and she just needs help right now, he shuts it down, saying this is who she really is, and he doesn't know why I want to associate with people like her. I know a lot of this is just stuff that Ken has told him, and he's defending his buddy. I'm not excusing her behavior, but I think that it's unreasonable for him to want me to cut my best friend out. She asked me to go out with her a few times, and I went once without telling my husband because I knew what he'd say. I just wanted to talk to her in person. After I told him that we met up, he went ballistic and repeated that if I didn't cut her out, we'd have issues too. Any advice navigating this would be much appreciated. OP then went on to add, I made this post on my lunch break. I'm on mobile now. The responses are overwhelming and eye-opening. I've seen recurring sentiment that I haven't said anything positive about Alice. I reread my post and realized that you're correct. So I'll just say this. She wasn't always like this, and her behavior, drinking excessively, shrugging off family, and work-obsessed, is relatively new. She used to be a good mother. We used to have fun family outings. She and Ken were happy. When she took the promotion, all that changed gradually until this happened. Maybe I'm blindsided to her behavior now because I know once upon a time she wasn't this person. I plan on talking to her tonight and having an intervention. I will let my husband know. Thank you for your responses, the good and the bad. Reddit wouldn't let me post an update without mentioning the ages and relationships again, so the people that are involved are me, my husband, we've been married for 10 years, my best friend and her husband Ken, they've been married for roughly 8 years. This is not a happy update. Alice and I made plans together on Saturday morning. I was going to get us coffee and help her with a few things around the house before she left for a business trip on Monday. My intention was to tell her that we, her family and mine, are worried about her and we all want to see her happy, but her behavior was worrying us. I was hoping we would have a heart-to-heart. I was hoping to see my friend again. I was hoping that she would agree to see a therapist. I was hoping that she would take a step in the right direction. None of that happened. She was combative from the moment I showed up at her place, almost as if she knew my intention before I even said anything. When I told her that I was worried about her, she said that she was fine and had just been blowing off steam and having some fun. She said that she works hard and can do whatever she wants now that Ken left her. She talked about how ungrateful Ken was over the years for all of her hard work and everything that she has paid for and done for him. It made me cringe, but I bit my tongue. For the record, Ken is a hardworking guy who didn't need her money. He was the breadwinner when they first got together. Although she makes quite a bit more than him now, he was in no way dependent on her. Some of you pointed out that it was likely that Alice was cheating on Ken. I asked her and she got extremely defensive. She gave me the whole, I can't believe you'd even ask me that attitude. I reminded her about the hot tub incident and the optics of it all. She brushed it off and swore that she never cheated. When I asked her who the guys were, it turns out that they were interns at her company. When I asked her about their age, she simply said they were legal. The way that she said it made me wonder if that's how dirty old men talk about younger women. It was gross. Whether or not she was cheating before the breakup, I don't know. I really don't know anything about this woman anymore. And here's where things took an unexpected turn. As we chatted, she was packing for her business trip. I asked her where she was going this time and she said Dallas. I didn't think anything of it since she had gone to Dallas for business dozens of times. What struck me as odd was what she was packing. Long pants, sweatshirts, a beanie, jackets, hiking boots. It was all fall attire and not what she would be wearing in Dallas at this time of the year. I don't think I even saw her pack work clothes. But the weirdest thing, a random Seattle's Marines jersey. She doesn't follow baseball. She never has. I thought about saying something but kept my question to myself. It was all just very odd. I felt like she was preoccupied with packing and her daughter coming over soon, so I decided to head out. We hugged and I told her that I loved her and I wanted her to be happy. I told her that I hoped that she considers seeing a therapist when she gets back. She said, I'll think about it. Things seemed to end on a positive note. But when I got home, my hubby and I were talking about how things went, and I told him about the clothes that she was packing and the random Seattle's Marines jersey. He thought it was odd too, but other than just being odd, we didn't think anything of it at the time. Then my husband went full internet detective, and guess who lives in Seattle and has a Facebook profile picture of himself at the Marines games? Her daughter's biological father. My heart sank. When I checked the Marine schedule, they do have home games next week. I called her immediately and I asked her if she was really going to Dallas. She responded, yeah, why? I asked her if she was sure that she wasn't going to see her ex in Seattle. She got quiet. There was probably a full minute of silence. I told her that she better not lie to me and that I would find out. And she came clean. She said that she had gotten in contact with him right after Ken left her, and that they had been talking more and more. She said that he was a different man now and had turned his life around. Blah effing blah. I didn't talk about her baby daddy in the last post because it wasn't relevant, but just know that this man is a piece of shit human being. He cheated on her while she was pregnant and kicked her out when she confronted him. He'd push her around and call her terrible names. This effing guy said that he wanted nothing to do with their child as well. I flew to Seattle, picked her up and brought her home. She lived with me for a bit. She met Ken shortly after having her daughter, and within a year of dating, they moved in together. I told her that all of the stuff that she'd pulled recently, this was by far the worst thing that she could do. I told her that I was disappointed in her. I couldn't believe that she would ever speak to the man after what he did to her and how he'd treated her. She kept saying that it was years ago and that she'd changed and he wants to meet his daughter someday. I started screaming and yelling into the phone so loudly, I think I blew out my voice. I told her that I was done with her. I told her that if she gets on that plane to Seattle, not to bother contacting me ever again. I hung up on her. She called back and texted once, but I ignored it. I didn't have the energy for her anymore. I just sat on the couch crying all night while my husband helped me. He didn't rub it in. He didn't give me an attitude. He just let me cry and told me that he was sorry. Alice texted me this morning. She said that she's sorry for lying to me, but she's a big girl now and can look after herself. I asked her if she's still going to Seattle, and she said yes. I blocked her. It's over. I told Ken everything. He was upset but not surprised. He said that he knew how close Alice and I were, and he was sorry that I had lost my friend. I told him that I was sorry that he had lost his wife. You guys were right, and I feel like an effing idiot. Maybe it's a little selfish of me, but I feel betrayed. So guys, what did you think about this? I'd be really interested in hearing your take down in the comments below. Now, before I share my opinion, I want to acknowledge that relationships can be complex, and it's essential to approach the situation with empathy and understanding. From what I get in this post, the best friend Alice is going through a very difficult time in her marriage. That being said, I do not in any way think that excuses her behavior, especially that meltdown that she had and the attitude that she had towards the interns. I also want to add that completely cutting off a long-standing friendship may not be the best solution. It's crucial to offer support and understanding to our friends when they're going through difficult times, as long as their actions don't harm others. But that being said, it's equally important to set boundaries and have open conversations with both the spouses and the best friend to address this concern and find a resolution that works for everybody involved. In the end, everyone's situation is unique, but I do sort of support OP's stance and OP's choice to set boundaries between her and Alice. Alice is a completely grown-up woman, and OP doesn't support the choices that she's making, so I totally think that that's okay to set these type of boundaries. But I'd be really interested in hearing what you guys have to say about it. Please let me know in the comments down below. And if you did like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a thumbs up. And please subscribe if you'd like to hear more stories from Reddit with updates.